Hello and welcome. Hopefully everybody can hear us. We had a small delay there as the internet went down at Twisted Towers. These things happen sometimes. It's our competition. They really don't like us. We're all good though. We're good to go, and hopefully you are there. We've got some viewers in. The tech looks like it is working now. But you'll be watching this game on tenterhooks. At any moment, the internet could cut out, and it will be a cliffhanger and a half if that happens. So it is Tuesday night. It is 10:30, and it is time for episode 2 of Untold Chronicles: The Smoke. Um, there we go. We have got me, we've got audio, we've got this. This is all good, and we've got our players loading up again now. Hello there, Jerry. Thank you very much for taking part and watching tonight on this very, very windy Tuesday night. Right, so without further ado, um, let us do a quick recap. So, episode 1 started with Stephen Sinclair receiving a letter from a friend and associate that he knew for around about a year. And it read as thus: "My friend, you have shown me much kindness over the last year. If you are reading this, then something has gone very wrong, and they have gotten to me. I implore you to go to number 36 Spitton Row, where I have a secret workshop. There you will find a safe in the floor hidden beneath the large workbench. I have every faith that you'll be able to figure out how to open it. In there you will find blueprints that I've been working upon. They are now yours, but please don't let them fall into the wrong hands. Your friend, Hugo Klugstein." And with that, uh, Stephen rapidly headed off to locate this secret workshop. But as he arrived there, it is in one of the much rougher parts of town. Taking a carriage, he noticed that there were a number of ne'er-do-wells loitering around it, and thinking better of it, and thinking on who he could trust or at least help him in this endeavour, he headed back and um, gathered together a couple of other associates in the form of Minty and Janus and Gallon. They headed off again, arrived at the workshop, and there was these individuals. They engaged them in conversation first. Let's call this up here. And it seemed that they had simply been hired to guard this place via a John Doe, one of the many fixers that operate within the smoke. There was a degree of urgency, and Stephen Sinclair had this letter, though, from this workshop's owner. So, wanting to pursue the interior of the workshop, Gallon let forth some arcane energy, attempting to put two of these individuals to sleep. One fell into a deep slumber, the other one managed to shake it off. With that, combat ensued. It lasted but a few moments, and it seems that Stephen Sinclair and his associates were victorious. The combat, though, was tough. One or two individuals getting wounded, and this is where we now rejoin them as they look at the fallen bodies of their antagonists, wondering what to do next. So with that, over to you, players. What would you like to do next?
I think Janus would like to go over and have a look at the bodies and see if there's anything that they can find.
Okay. You begin to search the bodies. The items upon them not particularly worth anything at all. Uh, Basic equipment that is not really worth your time sort of carrying, really. But amongst them, you do manage to gather together a number of coins. Um, 33 sort of copper pieces and 14 silver pieces in total. Seems they either haven't been paid yet or they are waiting or their payment is elsewhere fundamentally. Now I've put that into the party sheet. Are you planning to share that with the rest of them or are you just going to pocket it all?
I think that Janus wouldn't want to bother them with that, and just happens if it all goes into Janus's pockets, then
Okay.
that's how it is.
So, I mean, this is a difficult thing to do with sleight of hand. Obviously, searching the bodies involves physical investigations. The rest of you notice Janus kind of searching these bodies. Is anybody going to interfere or ask, or are you just going to let her get on with it?
You shouldn't touch that. It's gross.
Well, they're not going to do anything about it, are they?
You make a fair argument.
I think Galen, having known Janus, would be just keeping an eye to make sure he's kind of roughly aware of what she's taking or how much she's taking.
Give me. Are you attempting to sleight of hand this, or are you just taking it?
Well, I think a sleight of hand would be involved.
Okay, so give me a sleight of hand. You were obviously looking, so you can use either your passive perception or and roll for it as well.
I think I might take my passive.
Yeah. What is your passive?
Where do I find it on Fantasy
It'll,
Grounds?
it'll be on your main character sheet, on the main page.
All right, 14.
Yeah. So that beats the 12, and you see that the reality is it's not a fortune. There is a handful of silver and copper pieces. Nothing overly to write home about, but it is a handful of coin that has been taken so far. It'll be interesting if Janus at any point decides to offer that up as spoils to the rest of you.
Yeah, Galen just makes a mental note but doesn't comment on it for now.
Yeah. Okay. Whilst this is going on, Stephen, were you doing anything in particular?
This building, is it all one level or is it multi-story?
This is, because it's Slickside, all the buildings here are in a bad state. So the doors, this is the door to the forge here. Let me change the colour of this so make it a little bit more obvious for you. This is the door to the forge, and this here is the door to the workshop. So it is up to you where you want to do. The forge isn't lit. I know it is on the diagram, the map, but it doesn't look like it's been used over the last day or so. You were told you've never been here before. You didn't even know that Hugo had this as a workshop. But there are windows around as well. And it doesn't take a genius to sort of work out that you think this is the room that you're looking to get into.
I thought it was a kitchen. Excellent.
No, that's most definitely the actual workshop.
I don't know why I thought that green thing was a lettuce. I was like, okay, so that's the kitchen. Where's the workshop? Cool. Stephen will just be walking around, sort of checking doors, seeing if any are open, if they're all, if
Yeah.
it's sealed tight.
So the only two doors are this one here, which is locked, and as you kind of shake it, and as you look at the lock there, the lock has been replaced. It's got a relatively new lock, and it is of a much higher value than you would have anticipated for this area. It doesn't look like it's been immediately replaced, as in over the last kind of few hours or days, but it was quite obvious that Hugo reinforced this a little bit.
I will attempt to open this one.
Okay, so this is either going to be, if you've got proficiency in thieves' tools, you can do that. If not, sleight of hand. Do you have any tools to be able to pick this lock?
Tinkerers or thieves?
It'd be thieves' tools particularly.
Cool. Yeah, I'd be using thieves' tools then.
Okay, so this will mean that it's your dexterity plus your proficiency.
Okay. So my dex is 14 plus 2, so 16. And then proficiency in...
It's plus 2. So you've got
again.
plus 4 to your dice roll. So you can just roll a d20 and put in the modifier box plus 4.
Okay.
So
20.
yeah, 20 is absolutely fine. Although this is a new lock and a secure lock, you relatively easily manage to pick it and click it. It unlocks.
I'd walk inside and look around, sort of gather this is a forge that
Yeah, this is a very basic forge, the kind of thing that someone who is doing some sort of more tinkering and artificer, artificery would use. It's not really particularly good for forging weapons and the like, but it perfectly fits the nature.
Anything that immediately takes my eye as an inventor, one to another?
Give me a investigation roll, really.
Okay.
No, not really. This is pretty much as it is. It was a small working forge. Hasn't been lit for a number of days, but has been used in the past. And it's kind of, well kept, the way that Hugo would be precise.
All right. I take a look around and just take it and go, no, not in here. And then I'd start running around to the front of the building.
Okay.
Does this lock look the same as the one on the other door?
Give me an investigation roll. It's kind of strange as you begin to examine it. It was the same, as in it has been replaced, and it's of the same sort of complexity as the one that's on the forge. But as you begin to look at it, you notice that the interior of the mechanism has rusted somewhat.
As in forcefully rusted or just out of age? What I tell
No, this is a new lock, so this is an unnatural or preternatural occurrence. This shouldn't have happened. Both the locks are of the same sort of age, and it's more the interior of it.
Yeah. Is it a working lock, or is the door open, or is it still
the door's locked?
Shut?
The door's locked. It's going to be more difficult because the lock is rusted. It's going to take more time and more skill to be able to sort of pick the lock.
Right. I'm gonna run around to the group quickly, sort of hurried pace, man on a mission. Just go. Are any of you particularly good with picking locks or doors and anything like that? I could do with a hand possibly.
Galen just looks at Janice.
Why are you looking at me?
Oh,
I was trying to be polite.
I mean, I could have a look at it and see what we're working with.
If you wouldn't mind, it's strange. I need a second pair of eyes.
Okay.
I'm gonna run back round.
I'm sure Stephen's just
I have
loosened it for
faith.
you.
So you're not in initiatives at the moment. You can easily move around if you want to. Are you moving around as well, Galen?
I'd sort of bring Janice down to the lock and just go, look, it's new, but it's rusted on the inside. I'm not quite sure why or how. It's difficult for me to do it on my own, so I could do with a
That
help,
does seem
possibly.
unusual. And Jonas is going to reach down into their skirt and fumble around for a moment, and then from nowhere, apparently, pull out a thieves' toolkit. And,
Oh,
well,
I mean,
let's
considering
do
a thieves' toolkit's got like a crowbar in, and that is an impressive piece of work there.
This is an
I'm
impressive skirt.
I'm looking at Janice up and down, like, and ignoring the fact
What?
that things are just popping out of anywhere.
Shall we get to work?
Yes, please, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, and Galen will look at Janice and say, you got this, lassie. And then he will give her some bardic inspiration.
Oh, thank you. And I do, yes.
Okay. So I believe at this level, the bardic inspiration is a D6. So bear that in mind that you do as Galen inspires you to this. So I'm assuming, Stephen, are you aiding Janice in this endeavour?
Only because I imagine she's got a higher capability of these things. Not personally, just
Wow.
in character-wise.
Yep. Indeed. Well, this is interesting. This is going to be very interesting. Okay, so first of all, I need a perception roll from you, Janus, as you are getting close to the lock. So this is a complex lock.
That won't help.
You've been told it's rusty, and you begin to sort of look, and you can kind of see there is the fragments of rust, and you kind of know this is going to be a bit jammed, and it's going to be quite tricksy, and you kind of have to lean in to examine it. And as you lean in and kind of look into the lock, pressing your sort of iron face to the lock itself, you are met with an eye, a small dot of red looking back at you.
Oh my!
It's not like another eyeball. It's from some kind of very small, tiny creature. And very rapidly, before you can really act, it sort of turns, and as it turns, this sharp sort of proboscis jabs straight into your eyeball, or attempts to.
What?
Let us see how this goes. Fortunately, you managed to pull your head away fast enough as this very sharp thing comes at you, and you just manage to back away before it pierces your eyeball.
Oh, good. Stephen, what is this?
What's it? What's in there? What do you
I want to
see?
see.
That you do not want to see. Stand back. There's something in there.
Some what living mechanical? What is it?
Oh, it looked living when it tried to attack me there.
You can, Janus. You saw it. You can give me a nature roll. You might have encountered something like this before. Would you like to use your bardic inspiration on that, or do you feel that that is good enough?
I'm going to leave it at that.
All right.
But thanks for reminding me now. I've got that.
I'm just seeing if I can eke that bardic inspiration out of your resourceful. An 18 is by far good enough. This is an uncommon creature, but one that is the plague of thieves everywhere. It's called a ratchblug. It's a tiny creature that kind of feasts on metal, but also has the taste of iron, so likes blood and particularly likes eyeballs. And they lurk in latches and in locks, waiting for some unsuspecting people to stick their eye in there to feast upon the juices of a fresh eyeball.
Well, I'm really glad that I put my eye to that, knowing that that thing exists in the world.
Well, if you want to pick a lock, you have to sometimes put
yes.
your eye to it. That is the nature of the job. You can't do it without doing those things. Suddenly becoming a rogue becomes somewhat more dangerous in the
Well,
Untold Chronicles
I
world.
thought after last session, when Janus only just survived, that everything was fine this time. But
Oh.
fine.
You chose to put your eye to the lock. But
True.
okay. Yeah, this house is got maybe one, maybe more than one ratchblugs. You think they have probably moved in here recently. Certainly artificers and engineers don't keep them about as pets. They are terrible things.
Bloody ratchblugs. They don't come out of keyholes, do they? It's sort of like their nest. They wouldn't willingly be.
Well, they do. The likelihood is they're probably lurking there at the moment. This is what it looks like.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh,
jeez.
very friendly.
And that
I thought it was like a wasp or something.
yeah,
That's much worse.
that pointed nose is the thing that almost took your eye out.
I'm kind of glad that it missed, because it might be a bit embarrassing to pull back and have that hanging from my face.
Yeah.
Oh, you've had worse.
I've
True.
got an idea.
Oh, yes.
Shoot.
Well,
Oh, shooting. That's a good idea. Yes.
what we could do is we could put some blood in a bottle so that it will gorge on that rather than one of us, and then it'll get fat and lazy, and we can just like yank it out.
And do you have any blood on you?
That's
I'm scared of the answer already.
I've got my own inside me.
I think we're probably best keeping that where it is.
I mean, let's say that's plan B. Let's not bleed ourselves dry just yet. Haven't got anything inside.
Do you think it's ticklish? I have a feather.
I'm going to take a few steps back, and I'm going to cast Mage Hand.
Okay.
Try to use that to shake the lock to see if I can just dislodge it easily.
Actually,
yeah.
no, I should. I was going to say because I was going to save it till after she's done, after we possibly got it out, or if we just busted the door open. I've got mending. Would that undo the rust in this thing?
Mending kind of puts things together rather than that. As I mean, I don't know, but if you've got an artificer's kit, or even potentially Janus with the thieves kit, you might have oil, which will help lubricate. It's not going to cure the rust, but it will loosen up. We're talking about WD-40 here, really, but it is going to make a difference. It's surprising the difference that a little bit of lubrication on a mechanism will make.
From the roll of 18, just do we know how tough? I mean, I know it's tiny. I don't know how tough they are as little creatures go.
It's difficult to say. The main problem with them is that they are quite tricksy because they are tiny creatures. They are difficult to truly hit.
Are they intelligent?
Not really.
Yeah.
They are creatures of habit.
Okay.
They are tricksy and cunning as opposed to intelligent. They don't really have a language or anything like that.
Andy,
If I just so carry on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, while this is going on, Galen would like to just hop up on these crates and have a look at this window. Like, is it locked? Does it look?
Yeah, the window is locked and it is not quite boarded up, but it has shutters that are closed. You could, if you were brave enough, stick your eye to it if you wanted to see if you can peer through. There's no real light coming from within inside, so it's going to be difficult to see in. That's not saying you couldn't break open the shutters and force your way in. There is glass there, and they are windows, but you don't really have a good view into the interior. Again, this is a secret workshop in one of the worst areas, in one of the worst districts of the smoke, hence it kind of keeping it all up. I've had a request for sticking the picture up again, so hopefully you can see that. Gerb House, the creature.
What do you suggest we do?
We could try and jam something in there and stab it a little bit. See if it decides to give up living in there.
Put my glove to the lock and just firebolt the thing and see if it dies.
Well, it's one way. I'm not sure what effect it would have on the lock.
Well, hopefully it would blast it apart. I hate these things. Bane of my bloody existence.
Yes. So it must be annoying having to try to break into places.
Well, I mean, on the yards during the they're always getting into the carriages, trying to do things. I don't know. I don't want to risk anyone's eyeballs. Anybody just got a crowbar we can force this thing apart?
Oh, as you now happen to mention it, Jonas pulls out the crowbar that's in the thief stalls.
Okay, that's a crowbar. This will allow you to make a strength athletics roll against the door and the lock. Should you wish to use it, I'm just going to double check.
Anybody feeling strong?
I love it when parties just go, oh, I'm never going to need strength. Let's make it my gun stat.
Try. I mean, I'm not the strongest, but I'm not completely weak.
Well,
I mean, if we all give it if we do it together, I imagine we'll be able to at least break it a bit, surely.
Okay, and I thought so. Using a crowbar will grant advantage to strength checks where the crowbar's leverage can be applied. So this will give you advantage on your strength check as well. This is why tools are great.
Well,
So,
on you go then,
who's-
Minty.
who-
okay, Minty,
Mhm.
you move forward to the door. I mean, ultimately it is a door, somewhat reinforced, nice new lock. You can see the fragments of rust around it. You can easily get the crowbar between the door and the door frame, which is going to give you advantage. But again, this place has been reinforced. It's going to take some kind of good roll.
Here we go then.
So you have
I'll
advantage
do
on
my
this.
best.
Come on.
Oh, those rolls.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And am I correct that you don't have any modifier? Wow,
It was better than
strongest
Jonas's
person,
-1.
strongest person of the party. And I
Oh
have to
God.
say, it was a DC 20 to be able to do this.
Oh gosh.
Well done, Minty. As you kind of do it, you realise this door has been reinforced. Um, the person, whoever he is, you don't know, this friend of Stephen, most didn't want anybody sort of easily breaking in. And it takes a lot for you to do this. And there's a cracking and a breaking and a splintering of the frame. But yeah, you managed to do this. You managed to break this door open. You're going to push it open.
Yeah.
Okay, you push it open, and it swings open. The light from the outside, there's no interior lights here that are illuminated at the moment, sort of sweeps into the to the living chambers of this individual's abode. Um, but it is chaos and mayhem in here. At first, you think that it's maybe been robbed or ransacked, but as your eyes begin to settle down, you realise there is most definitely a method to this madness, and many of the things you see, pieces of parchment and paper pinned to the wall, various symbols dotted around, all have a very common theme. Um, they all seem to be devoutly religious in some kind of way. This is just the opening kind of thing that you notice as the door sort of swings open and the scant light spills into it.
Well, Stephen, your friend's messier than I am.
Apparently so. I pat Minty on the lower back because that's about as high as I get. Honestly, good job with the door. You're stronger than you look.
Well, I bump into a lot of things, so I guess all that sort of getting back up after is paid off.
It's like 3 push-ups every hour.
Yeah.
Excellent. You said it was religious inside, like sort of mildly religious looking.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to go in and have a proper look. Okay.
I mean, yeah. Would I have known he was like this?
No, as far as you're concerned, he was a man of science and religion had absolutely nothing to do with it. And as you begin to sort of look around, everybody can give me religion rolls, please.
Okay.
I'm a man of science. I have a +2 in that apparently. So. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Those nice
so
to,
it doesn't take a lot. Stephen, you are a man of science and none of it really makes any sense to you. Certainly, Galen, you kind of look around and you certainly recognise that much of the writings and the symbols are not to a single god, but multiple different gods. And Janus and Minty with the slightly higher rolls, you sort of realise that much of the ravings, the writings on there are scriptures, words from holy texts, all to do with abjuration and protection. Almost as if whoever was in here was trying to stop something coming in.
Can I ritually cast Detect Magic, please?
Absolutely. This is going to take you 10 minutes. You've smashed the door open and killed a lot of people. If you want to spend 10 minutes sitting down, concentrating, catching a ritual, then absolutely.
I'd move inside and close the door behind me.
Okay, so show me where you are going.
Probably gonna stand sort of here.
Very nice.
Just are we in the pitch black? Just out of curiosity now.
It's pitch black unless anybody has lit a light. Obviously, Galen and Janus have dark vision. Minty and Stephen, you don't. As soon as you close the door as best as you can, it goes to darkness, but it looks like Minty has just cast light.
I'm intrigued. What did Minty cast light on?
For now, probably her horns.
Love it.
Just working like little fog beams.
Minty, just while you're casting that, can you do it on my gauntlet as well, please?
Light can only be cast from the same person, I believe, once.
Okay.
I think as soon as, it's not like concentration, but as soon as you cast it on a different source, the source that you first cast it on, it fades. But feel free to double check that ruling if you can. You should have it on your character sheet.
Yeah, if I cast it again, it does go off. So if put it on you or me, whichever's easiest.
Well, you're taking a sit down, aren't you? I mean, with you there, I can see that door in the corner, so that's fine.
Wow. Yes.
What rolls?
Minty an 8, and Janus a 4, and Galen a 6. As you kind of all sort of come around here and begin to do this, it is you, Stephen, perhaps because you're a little bit more used to these creatures. As Minty sits down and begins to sort of focus on the ritual, you see it creeping and moving towards her. You have enough time to shout out should you wish to. It looks like it's going to strike.
Everyone, the lock thing is it's in the room. It's going for Minty now.
What?
Everyone,
Where?
quickly. Next to you.
And with that, I will have initiatives, please. You fortunately managed to see it before it could strike. This thing is acting very fast.
Very quick. Yeah.
It's small. We kind of have to have it at that square there, but yeah. And with you stationary and sitting down, perfect target as it kind of moves out of the lock and moves a lot. This thing is maybe only an inch big, maybe smaller. And it strikes at you. Fortunately, the warning means it does not get advantage, but it does hit you.
Yeah.
Oh, and you are dying.
Well,
as it drives upon you, and it does exactly what it does best, that sharp proboscis straight into your eye, as it begins to suck the humour out of your eyeball. And it is on you now. In your space, Janus.
Jonas is going to run around to it. The skirt again, and screams, "Get away from my friend!" And going to try to stab it.
Okay, this is literally on her face.
Oh, is it? So a stab might hurt her as well.
Well, I mean, you should be able to do it. What I mean is, and you've rolled now anyway, but a critical hit, a critical miss, a failure like that might
Smash my
have
face in.
been very bad. But you weren't targeting it. But I'm more than happy to clarify that a 21 is a hit. So if you want to target now, you can kind of do the damage.
Doesn't seem to want. I'm doing the control click, and it's giving me that it's a 5 foot away, but it's not.
It might be due
there we
to the
go.
fact
I did it in the combat
that
tracker instead.
yeah, it's too small for you. But yeah, so yeah, feel free to give it some damage. Heavily damaged. Do you get? You haven't got. Have you got sneak?
I-
Got sneak attack?
I
haven't you?
do have sneak attack,
Yeah.
but it's only if there is an ally within 5 foot.
Minty is it a conscious ally?
Now that would be the interesting part of the wording.
Well, the wording will say in sneak attack if it is a conscious ally or not. Have you got it on your character sheet?
I'm just reading it now. Once per turn, you can deal extra damage to one creature you attack with finesse, or you don't need advantage on the roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 foot, or if that enemy isn't incapacitated and you don't have disadvantage on roll.
There you go. The enemy's incapacitated.
They're incapacitated. So
I think dying is most definitely incapacitated.
it's a fairly good way to incapacitate somebody, I find.
So unfortunately,
would I count?
no, because you're not not
5
next
foot
to
of
the
the enemy.
creature.
Isn't the creature occupying the same space as Minty because it's in her face?
Yeah, but not for this. But I
Alright.
do like the pushing it. So Galen, it is your go.
Galen is just going to throw some cuss words at the creature and cast vicious mockery at it.
Okay. Do you want me to target it for you, or can you? Because I've shrunk it down to its miniature size.
I did it in the combat tracker.
Sorry, I just zoomed in on the map.
Yeah.
Right, let me
That's
try and do
not
this.
targeting at the moment. It looks like it is on the map, but it's not in the combat tracker.
There you go. You're targeting it now anyway. I have done it for you.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think I do anything, do I? It's
Yeah.
Oh no,
Well,
it's
you
one
force it to
d4.
make the saving throw, basically. So you go to your
Yep.
actions, click on the little tennis racket, and if your wisdom DC save is 13, then click the save button.
Right, okay. Gotcha.
There we go. Yeah, it kind of succeeds and throws it off. These are terrifying little tricksy monsters. Fortunately, Minty is not dying as yet. Well, dying, but hasn't slipped closer to death.
It hurts and I don't like it.
Oh, it's terrible. This thing is like getting one of those horrible thorns right in your eye.
Ow!
It's a meanie.
So, Stephen, you'll go.
Yes. Can I try and grab it?
Sorry, just going to jump in there and say, as a bonus action, I'm gonna shout at Stephen. You get him for me, and then give him bardic inspiration.
Okay, very nice.
Cool,
So
yeah.
you now have bardic inspiration as well.
Can I try and grab this thing?
Absolutely. So this is going to be strength athletics. You need to do a strength athletics, a check, trying to grab it. and it can choose to use
God.
dexterity or strength to resist your grapple.
Oh no. I should do this.
Very good. Now, would
I'm
you
gonna throw
like to?
the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Bardic
throw my inspiration on that.
Okay, so that's a D6. Okay, so that makes a 17, and it is going to do its dexterity, and it is a natural 1. So you grab this, and are you just going to pull it out of her eye?
Yeah, I'm just gonna just try and grab it and hold it.
Okay,
Kill
so
it like a
uh,
bug.
yeah, so I mean, what you can do basically with the grapple is you can kind of pull it off her, but you can't do it damage unless you've got a second
No.
attack. So it's now not on Minty, but you've got it grappled in your hand, and its movement
Yeah.
is basically 0 at the moment, which is good because it was going to do ongoing damage. It is its go now, and it's going to use its action to try and break free. And it struggles but cannot do that. Then we move to Janice.
I'm going to shout to everybody. Does anybody have any way of healing?
No, I used it all on you.
Oops.
I used it all on Stephen.
In that case,
So it is possible to do a medicine check to stabilize someone, should people wish to do that.
yeah, I think that might come up. But first of all, let's get rid of this thing first.
Okay. So now you do have an ally. It's not advantage, but it's certainly sneak attack territory. You hit. And that is enough as you pierce this creature.
Cool.
And it dies.
I just released my gauntlet.
Somebody heal Minty now.
I've got nothing. I used it on you outside.
But just anything. Just stop it. Stop her bleeding.
Well, I'm not a doctor. I'm an inventor. She's not a machine.
Galen, do something.
So Galen will run up and
Well, wait, sorry, Janus, that was your go. Is there anything else
that
you
was
want to
oh,
do?
sorry.
It is going to be your go next anyway, Galen.
Are we still in initiative then?
We are,
Oh,
because
yeah,
we've got
just-
somebody dying.
Right. Yep. Okay.
The thing that I like about this is that Minty has literally got one eye closed on the token.
I did notice that. Larry preempting that one.
You're gonna look cool in eye patch, Minty.
I mean, fair.
Okay. Right. I can. Now, I'm not proficient in medicine.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Absolutely. It's fairly obvious that Minty is bleeding from the eyeball. You're not quite sure what to do about it, but
Yeah.
trying to prevent the bleeding somewhat is sensible. So you just give us a medicine skill check should you
Okay.
wish to try and do that.
Is Janice helping?
Janice isn't. Janice has used their action to dispatch this creature.
Okay. Well, here goes then.
Can I help?
5 is not enough. Boom, 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 boom. So you can, Stephen, when it's your turn, certainly try and do something. But Minty is still. That is 2 successes, and then it is you, Stephen. You'll go. So you can delay your action and offer the aid action to Janice if you wanted to, and then Janice would be operating with advantage on their medicine check.
Yeah, I'll delay. Yeah, I'll do that then.
It's not really delaying, but it's literally going, okay, let us work together, and it's using your
Yeah,
action to aid Janice.
that was kind of my thinking anyway. So yeah,
Perfect. So
delay and aid.
Janice, if you are doing a medicine check now, you have advantage on it.
So
And I can remind you at this point
I've
that you've
got-
not used your bardic inspiration.
get it all on there.
Okay. That is good enough as you stabilize Minty. Minty is no longer dying, but is unconscious.
Don't think that she's bleeding anymore. I don't think that she's not responding either.
At least she's not. At least she's safe. Hugo, what have you done to this place?
Yeah, you don't think that this creature is Hugo's doing. No one would be keeping this kind of creature around. So
I mean, there's no sense of time from when he delivered the letter to now, is there? Are these things quick moving? Or are they?
but you don't know whether you got the letter or the letter was passed on to you. It was passed on to you by a beggar, basically.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm pretty sure the door in the back there is this workshop, which is where I need to get to. But I'd rather wait for Minty to come to first.
Boom, boom. Okay, so this does give you a little bit of time to actually search this area now. Should you wish to?
Her light's gone out, hasn't it? Because she's unconscious.
I don't believe it's concentration, so I think it will still be. That's why it's not working. Still be up there.
Are you wanting us to do Weekend at Bernie's so you can see?
Pretty much. If you just hold her in between the two of you and just move around.
Or we could have a look around without her, and you can stay here in the light.
I mean, the nice thing about light, just so you know, I believe the cantrip is, I believe it's like 20 foot bright light.
20 foot of bright, 20 foot of dim.
So you
does it move around corners?
Well, yeah, it's light, so it fills the area quite nicely, really. So you can easily kind of, whilst you make Minty relatively comfortable, examine this part of the workshop without any kind of problem. And it's very much a living area. Very much, this is a bed, table, a small seating area, a place that he would have eaten. And there are lots of things scattered around, as well as all of this religious symbolism and these strange scriptures that are pinned to kind of every vertical surface. I mean, it looks like it's the ravings of a madman, really.
How clean are the sheets and stuff on the bed?
Yeah, relatively clean. Relatively clean.
Janus is going to take a moment to take some of them and try to make sure that Minty is comfy.
Mm-hmm.
Can layer on this fancy fur rug.
Yep.
Or lay her on the bed.
As you move around, you do notice there's all sorts of paraphernalia kind of haphazardly scattered. It also looks like someone has decided to rapidly pack and hasn't really taken everything with them. If you want to quickly look into the party sheet, under inventory, there are all these items sort of kicking around this area that you can have a look at.
I'm intrigued by the unidentified item already.
The 10 parchments, are they written on?
No, they are blank. Very similar to many of the parchments that have got scripture written on. You kind of know it's light and you've had a moment to sort of explore. It's all written in Hugo's hand as you kind of get the letter that you receive from him. It's all the same script and handwriting, but the 10 parchments are usable, clean, haven't been written on as yet.
I have to say I would like to take these 2 alchemist fire flasks.
Andy, Galen would like to have a look at the potion and see what that is.
Okay. Do you have any kind of skill in herbalism or anything like that? In other words, once again, I am saying pitch me a skill. You can certainly look at it, but how are you planning, unless you've got the ability to ritually cast identify, how are you planning to do this?
I mean, he was kind of not terribly interested in if it's just like, like regular liquid. He's kind of looking for whether it's something that might have magical properties. So would that be an Arcana check?
Yeah, Arcana is good enough for me.
Okay.
It's difficult to tell. It's not a success. It's not a critical failure. I mean, you could, if you wanted to take a risk, try and drink some. Not enough to spoil the effects of the potion, but if it was a poison or like alchemist fire or some kind of chemical that is bad for you, then you would take the effects of it. It's that risk reward dilemma.
I feel this is something that's perfectly safe when it's right next to the poisoner's kit.
There is indeed a poisoner's kit. There's a herbalism kit, bags of sand, alchemical supplies, all sorts of things here.
He'll kind of hand it over to one of the other 2 and say, any of you guys know what this is?
I can make an Arcana check as well. I'll give that a go. Not much better.
Let's have a look in.
Your best guess, and it is a guess, is that it is possibly a potion of healing.
Can we still take a little sip just to make sure?
Yeah, I mean, the Arcana roll is good. You think you have mitigated. Taking a sip, as I say, is a risk versus reward, and you can certainly do that if you want.
Yeah, I think just to make sure that it isn't, I'm not being silly and it's not poison.
Okay, you take a sip, and it is indeed a potion of healing.
Cool. I think we know where this is going.
Yeah,
Yep.
Janus. I mean, it's worth like
Into my
20,
pocket. Thanks,
25 gold you'll be able to get for that. That's a fortune.
Right, cool. Bye, guys.
Of course, it was just passed to you by Galen.
Oh yeah, he might have noticed.
What do you mean by yeah?
Gee.
as everybody's watching you go, yeah, I think it might be a potion of healing. I'm just going to sip it. Yeah, I'm just going to put it away.
It's just straight into the dress. Nobody will know. Yeah, let's use that on Minty.
Who wants to do the honours then? A 2d4 plus 2.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Fix me good.
Fix you good. Look at that. 8.
Oh, I am
Nice.
full health. I'm
The
over full
wonders,
health, actually.
the wonders of first level.
Mm.
And being a wizard, meaning you have such a small hit point pool, it's almost impossible not to fully heal.
Right, as you come into consciousness, your eye is stinging. You're still sort of, your tear duct is still kind of bleeding somewhat. You're not in any danger of losing any more hit points, but as a cinematic, it's a terrible thing that has happened to you.
I don't like those things.
Minty,
That really
how
hurt.
are you okay?
As I can be. I mean, that wasn't nice, and my
Just
eye hurts, and I
just
can't
keep it
see
closed.
too.
That's probably the safest.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I didn't see it sooner.
It's okay.
It's a very good job you saw it at all, really. Those perception rolls were so bad, it was unbelievable.
All right, no need to rub it in.
This book in the kit, in the sheet, is there anything interesting in that? Did I investigate it?
Nah, it's again just some kind of partly, it's not even partly written sort of journal. All the stuff is pretty much what it basically says on there.
Okay.
It's a bound book. It's worth quite a lot of money, 25 gold, half that much if you were to sell it. Um, but yeah, useful as to write things in. It seems anything of any kind of real importance has been stuffed into maybe bags and taken.
Yeah.
Ooh, we've got a weird thing. I might be able to work out what that is, but it'll take a
Just
bit.
if no one minds, I'm just going to have the book and the alchemist fire and the supplies.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
What?
while you're taking that, I'm just going to look over here, and if things go missing, I won't worry about it.
Okay.
Poisonous kit suddenly vanishes from the list.
Gallon's taking a quick look at the door just to try and figure out if it's locked or not.
Yeah, this door doesn't seem to be locked. He kind of figured that his security was probably safe.
In that case, he will. Oh, what the hell? He'll just open it.
Okay. As you open it, the dim light of another sort of 40 foot kind of spills into there, and you can see that this is the main sort of workshop. There are various half-started contraptions and experimentations. The majority of this is all clockwork, though. There are designs up there and the like.
Anything interesting I would be able to discern?
Give me a artificer roll. So this will be either wisdom or intelligence plus your proficiency.
Ooh. Go for intelligence then. Oh, that wasn't good.
So, I mean, you kind of know he's a bit of a genius, and it's all kind of experimentations, all sorts of different types of things. Once again, you don't think anything has overly been left here of any kind of real value. Certainly, component parts would be useful.
Speaking of components, question. You know how some spells have, like, identify, oddly enough, have as requiring a pearl worth 100 gold.
Hmm.
Would it
Do you
be?
happen to have one?
Yeah, I was going to ask. Would it be
Unfortunately,
one of
not.
those? Yeah. Okay.
You need to have spent your starting money on that.
Nobody starts with 100 gold.
Yeah, it depends whether you decide not to take the starting gear and go with the money. But as a group of you, I mean, Janus, for instance, seems to be accruing an awful lot of money, and I'm sure Janus wouldn't
Oh,
mind buying you a pearl.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. But there we go. No, you don't start with expensive
Yeah, I
components.
thought so.
Um,
What do we know about the unidentified item?
there isn't an unidentified item as far as I'm aware.
I can see in the party sheet there's a bag of sand and a knife and an unidentified item.
Oh, let's have a look. Like a sand. Wow.
Or is it something that's been left over from another game? Oh, well, now I recognise it.
What's that? It's a pearl. How did I not notice?
Yeah, it's a this is probably why nobody. It's soap. Do none of you wash?
Well,
That's what the river's
I mean,
for.
gonna
Galen
wash now,
didn't
yeah.
look, but it sounds like Janice doesn't.
No. So it's quite a large block of what appears to be carbolic soap, which is very good for getting rid of sort of oil and the like on your hands. So it is just soap.
I like
Cool.
the fact that Janice instantly swiped it. Doesn't matter what it is, just
What?
so
Yeah.
mine.
There's
Done.
nothing to see here. Everything's fine.
Okay. I mean,
So-
all of you don't really think that I'm not going to use this to my advantage at some point. As Janice put something in her dress that she really doesn't want to put into her dress.
I would expect nothing less.
Exactly.
What, like the knife?
Oh,
Yeah.
God, is that knife a thing?
Yeah, the knives, I think.
No, as in, is it one of those pointy eye stabbers?
What?
Just didn't know. Just didn't notice.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
So Galen's going to be helping Stephen to look around. I think the letter said that there was a safe under the large workbench in here.
indeed,
Yeah, I'd be
yes.
looking under every bench as well.
So this is like, I don't know if you remember, you're probably all too young to have sort of chemistry labs like we had in the Victorian times. But this workbench basically is full fronted, so it goes right down to the bottom of the floor. And it's solid, not wood. This is kind of like slabs of stone, designed to really take any kind of hammering or anything else. And they look very, very heavy.
The door, sorry. Hello?
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 Sorry. I said, sorry, did you say the doors were made of stone?
No, the workbench.
Oh, right, okay. I assume those are little handles I can see on the front of it.
Yeah, there's some stone drawers cut into it.
I'm just going to start going through the drawers, everything around this bench.
Yeah. So give me an investigation roll.
I think I'll continue what I was doing before I was stabbed in the face.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Stephen should have advantage because I said I was helping him.
Yeah, that is fine. You can roll again, Stephen, if you are working together.
Indeed.
Okay. So a 14 is good enough, especially as you kind of know what you're looking for. And you do find that there is part of the bottom of this workbench is actually a secret panel. And as you kind of tap it, it looks like it's all solid stone, but you notice that it is actually movable, probably allowing you access to beneath the workbench.
So, this house has got me all flustered now. I don't want to... Janice, are you any good with... I know I ask a lot, but traps, perhaps?
I also need to mention that obviously all of the religious scriptures and holy symbols carry on through into this workshop area too.
Well,
Does anyone but I don't know, with the rolls, does anyone recognise those witches?
It's a whole selection of religions, all kind of good aligned, all sort of, abjuring evil. It's all about protection being strung so that darkness and shadow cannot break through into this place. It's all quite disturbing, really.
it's a good job that we're all good people here, then, isn't it? What is this you need me to break into?
I'm just checking the false bottom for this safe to see if there's any explosive.
Mm.
No,
So,
yeah.
indeed, it could well be rigged. So you found it. Are you going to try and check for any kind of traps?
I'll take it this time if Janice helps me.
Yeah, Janice will help out there.
So you work together. It's still a investigation roll.
Yeah, that's fine. With advantage, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I mean, you can roll again anyway, but 19 is easily good enough.
Yeah, I'll just stick with a 19.
Okay. So yeah, it doesn't look trapped. It kind of looks. It's well disguised, and you see that with that roll that you can easily sort of click and then slide quite a large brick to one side, or rather slab of stone really, which is what it is, and it reveals a almost like crawl space into the interior of the workbench.
Big enough for a person to get into. Well,
Yeah,
half a person.
yeah. I mean, Hugo was not a small man, and even he could sort of crawl into here. It seems that this workbench itself is hollow. Still quite thick stone. Still a good, half a foot. But it is the interior hollowed out. And as light kind of is cast into it a little bit, you can see firmly set in the floor underneath this workbench is what appears to be a safe that has 3 complex dials upon it.
Right. He said I should be able to figure this out. Is that because I'm just an inventor, or because there would be something to be aware of to these dials?
I mean, you're unsure. Maybe it's because he kind of rates your scientific knowledge, or maybe it's something to do with conversations that you've had. You are unsure of the reasons why. You're going to need some proper light in there to have a proper look at this. The light is sort of trying to shine in at the moment from where Minty is, but
Yeah.
you're kind of going to need proper light.
Minty, can you just shine your horns in here a second for me, please? I need to get a good look at this thing.
Your detect magic hasn't flared up at the moment. There's not a whole amount that has been left here that is magical. Maybe the potion that you drank might have flared up, but beyond that, everything else seems to be mundane.
Cool.
The two of you squeeze in and you see that it's quite a complex looking number of dials. You can spend time trying to work it out if you want.
Dials with numbers on, symbols, letters, anything like that?
It's strange. The top dial has symbols. The one to the left has numbers, and the one to the right has letters. Give me a history roll first.
Will do. Oh, come on.
Yeah, you're kind of a little bit maybe nervous about this. Maybe you kind of look around for any more ratchbloogs hiding underneath here. The fact that Hugo didn't appear to be a religious man, but he has put all of these scriptures and symbols all round has got you somewhat shaken, and yeah, you're not sure. You need to somehow focus your mind a little bit. Try and think on conversations that maybe you had.
Does the symbol, the numbers on the dials, do they reflect anything that I can see painted on the walls in the scriptures? Is there any correlation between the things he's put up in this safe?
Give me a perception roll, please.
Come on.
Your mind begins to work a little bit like Sherlock Holmes as you begin to piece together various things. If this workshop is being protected by these sigils and these symbols and these scriptures, then it makes sense that this device, this vault, this safe is similarly protected. So having some kind of sacred symbol or number or word is probably what he went for, and you begin to piece together that information. So mechanically, what has happened here is you've had one failure and one success so far.
Yeah.
So you are 1 for 1. You can try and rope other people in to help.
Yeah, I'm gonna relay all this information to everyone to start looking. To first look at the safe and then to have a look around, see if they can notice patterns maybe, or particular symbols or numbers that stick out more than others.
Okay. Does anybody wanted to try and do that?
After so yeah, Galen will start having a look, but after he's had this information relayed, he'll say to Stephen, he'll say, you're one of the brightest people I know, mate. I'm sure you'll be fine. And he'll use his last bardic inspiration.
Excellent stuff.
My heart beats big. Right. Well, I don't know where to start, but he certainly seemed to be on something far beyond what he ever told me. I had no idea he was so petrified of, I don't know, darkness or religion or something. But if you can all make a good effort to see, I'd appreciate it.
Maybe he thinks that other things will want to take this to use it in bad ways. As in spiritual peoples, not just bad peoples.
But it looks quite possibly. I mean, it's a very normal safe. I mean, coded as it is, it's whatever he was fearing. He obviously was inventing for something, but he never told me. I had no idea he was working on these kind of inventions until this letter.
What kind of things did you talk about?
Just invent. I mean, I assume I was one of the few people who gave his desire to invent credence and an ear, because we are so similar, I suppose.
Just as a reminder from the last session, because it has been 2 weeks. No, it's what happens when we play so infrequently. You are aware that he was a genius clockmaker, an artificer whose reputation and fortune plummeted when his clockwork butlers were implicated in a series of murders in the squalor. He protested his innocence and claimed he was set up. Someone though stepped in and made all of the accusations against him disappear. He kind of lost his reputation though, and the Pinch press sort of hounded him, sensationalizing many of these murders, not just sort of simple killings. This he's spoken to you about a number of times. This might be something that reflected here.
I mean, after I've said all that, I'll just say, I mean, he was a brilliant man, but he fell on the worst thing an any inventor can fall on. His machines went haywire, or something happened. But I don't know. He loved time. He loved clocks. Maybe there's something in that. It's been a while since I spoke to him. I'm trying to piece it together now.
Okay, so
the safe on the ground. So he's a time. If he remembering that he's a timekeeper, are the dials? I know he's a clockmaker, but is there more of a clockish way to it? So it's like cycles or times, maybe, I don't know. I know
yeah,
it's
you
numbers.
seem to be working through quite nicely the ideas. As you think on the conversations that you've had with him, the histories, you can give me a history roll or an insight roll. Either of those are
Both are
appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, both are as good as each other. Let's do history again. Oh, come on. Right, I'm throwing my d6 at that.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a difference.
Would Janus be able to have a conversation and try to kind of suggest thoughts as to, did he talk about anything in particular to kind of support a insight roll?
Well, it's a history roll he's chosen to make.
Yeah.
But you can certainly aid him with doing that if you want. So you can roll that again. You can't roll the +3, but you can roll your.
Yes.
And it seems that Janus's help allows you to focus, and as you realise, you're not a religious man, but you look around and you see that a number of these scriptures are all about sort of fire and brimstone, are about the fall of civilizations to evil, are about apocalypse and Armageddon. And you begin to sort of focus on the dials, turn it to the date that is the date of the fall of Hugo, and there is an audible click. The day that everything turned bad for him. It seems that you have managed to open the vault.
Couldn't have done it without everyone here. What's inside?
Could be sharing what's inside. That's good to know.
As you look in, not much really. Let me put it into here.
Make sure we get a look before Janus nicks it.
What?
You notice that there is obvious blueprints,
Yep.
and a very strange crimson stone.
Oh, shiny rock.
The rock seems to glow with a black red inner fire.
Ooh.
It looks like a fragment of rock as well. It's not a polished gem.
Can I Arcana check that? Or was that
Absolutely.
what is that? Yeah, I
Well,
suppose
it's either nature or arcana. Are you showing everybody else? Are you working
I mean,
through?
I'll put the rock on the table just for the moment. I'm pretty sure no one would steal it from me, as it's incredibly valuable to me. This being the reason we're here. Blueprints, on the other hand, I don't want to open until I get back to my workshop because I don't feel safe in this place.
Okay.
But the rock is on the table. I'll
So
Arcana check.
you can give me an arcana check if you want.
My rolls tonight, man.
It's the way it works sometimes. It is the way that it works. All arcana tells you is that this is a piece of rock that has the capacity of holding magic. The fact it's got this inner fire is, shows that it can potentially hold enchantments. You would have to identify it or do something else with it. But Minty, you chose to do a nature check, which is actually far more interesting. You know that this is not a natural stone of sorts, but it's neither supernatural. You've heard tales, very scant tales, of people who have travelled far to the north to a place known as the Dredges. Within the Dredges, there's a place called Starfall, and you think this is been gathered from there. You've heard tales of this type of rock being mined or dug up from the crater within the Dredges itself.
I'll share this with everybody while also reaching out to touch it to see if it's warm, because her brain automatically goes, it's all glowy, so maybe it's cozy.
As you touch it, it feels currently just like normal rock.
Just out of curiosity, when you said inner fire, do you mean there's literally fire in it, or it just waves like fire?
No, there is a glow, almost like a hot coal. And there is Starfall. So that is what you do. You haven't opened up the blueprints as yet, and we're going to end this session as you hear the sound of a carriage and horses pulling up to the outside of this workshop. And that is where we are going to end for tonight. It seems that someone has arrived, but in a carriage. So someone who has money. Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to you, our players. A scary time. Scary time, but you did very well, managing to sort of stabilize. And thank you very much to all of our viewers tonight. We've had loads in, and if you are still there from the raid, big thumbs up to you guys. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. We'll try and return the favourites sometime when you let us know when you're streaming and stuff, and we'll hop across to your channel as well. So that's it. That is episode 2 of The Smoke. You have survived it, and if you can deal with whatever is arriving, you will be leveling up to level 2 next session. Awesome. So until we meet again, a big thank you to everybody, and we will see you all very soon. Take care, everybody.